The biggest asset that you could have today in the world is mastering the art of grabbing attention. And that's really what plays into my second book of a hook point. Is like, how do I grab attention? Because the world that we live in today, there's over 60 billion messages sent out on digital platforms each day. Yeah, we're competing against LeBron James. We're competing against Kim Kardashian. We're competing against Netflix. And you have to have a hook to get somebody to stop. I firmly believe the biggest asset that you could have today in the world is mastering the art of grabbing attention. I knew I needed a strong hook. And I thought, well, what if I generated 1 million followers in 30 days? Could that be a book? Could that be a hook to bring people into a larger conversation? So immediately I called a literary agent that I knew. If I do this, will you sign me as a client and can you get me a publishing deal? And he's like, yes. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go and do it.
How did you know you could do that?
I think it was two elements. One, I had tested so much with the client, so I had a good system in place. And two, I think one of the valuable lessons I learned is when I was working with Katie Couric. I had worked with her for 2 years, like reverse engineering the art of the interview for digital platforms. And over those 2 years, I did about 220 interviews with her. And it was interesting because through those 220 interviews, I tested about 75,000 variations of hooks. And I saw the data and the trends that told me it's not, in the world that we live in today, is celebrity helps a little bit, but it doesn't mean you're gonna be successful. It's really about the content. What is the hook? What is the message that's gonna get somebody to stop? That's gonna get you to pay attention. And one of my friends that I created a company called Jukin Media. They generate 3.5 billion views a month without celebrity.
Right.
And that just showed me it's the world that we live in today. As long as you position your content, position yourself, it honestly doesn't matter if you're starting from zero or you're the biggest celebrity in the world. You can still gain attention if you know how to structure your content properly.
Can you give me some examples of what that would look like and why that would be the most important thing?
First, sometimes there is luck involved and some people just hit it. But I can tell you that those people that don't really continue to hone their craft, they don't sustain. But today, again, 60 billion messages sent out. Just imagine if we open up Instagram right now, we open up Facebook, we open up YouTube, there's probably 1,000 pieces of content that the algorithms could seed to you. The algorithms have a very, very difficult job because obviously they can't seed 1,000 pieces of content to you. So they have to determine, based upon this individual, what are the first 10 or 15 pieces of content I'm going to prioritize that are going to keep you on the platform longer? Because that's how they make money. So longer that you spend, the more ads they can serve you, the more that they can monetize your audience. Thinking through that, what are the algorithms looking for? They're looking for two primary things. Is one, when people are scrolling through their feed, or if it's on YouTube and it's suggested videos, do they stop or do they click? If they don't do that, then the algorithms know your content's not good. And that decision of whether I'm going to stop or click happens in the first 3 seconds. So the first part of it is, how do I get somebody to stop in those first 3 seconds? The second thing that I mentioned is, how long are people engaging with that content? Okay, now once I have them stop, are they only staying for 3 or 5 seconds? Or are they staying for 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours? That's the second part of the equation. So let's go back to that first 3 to 5 seconds. Let me start with the mistakes that people make. One, they try and do too much. They try and almost vomit up everything about them, about their product, their service, or everything they want to say, when you just got to get them to stop. Just focus on that so that you can win the next part of the conversation. You don't have to do everything in that first 3 to 5 seconds. Secondarily, another mistake people make is saying the same thing in the same way as everybody else. Let's say we're launching a meditation app. Meditation is the key to success. Meditation is the key to stillness. Meditation is the key to happiness. I'm going to keep, because I know what it is. I already know what it's going to say, so I don't have to stop. So how can we flip that? So one of the tools that we use is called subverting expectations. Meditation is a scam. Most of the time you don't hear that. I'm interrupting that pattern. I'm getting them to stop so then I can win the next part of the conversation. Now, what I'm not suggesting clickbait here, because in order for like a hook or a hook point to be successful, there's 3 core pillars. Is the hook of getting that pattern interruption stopping. Second, what is the story that we're going to tell now that we have the attention, because we have to retain them. And then the third is, do people trust? So let's go back to that example. So the headline is meditation is a scam. My story would be is, have you ever felt that meditation is a scam? Well, I really feel your pain. People were telling me I need to sit still, I need to clear my head, and I could just never figure it out until I stumbled upon these 3 strategies that I'm about to share with you.
Are there other metrics you're looking at? Like, how do you test things out?
First, it starts with what are the goals of the business? And it's amazing to me how many people don't really go into social media with why am I doing it? Like, am I going in to generate revenue? Am I going in to generate traffic? Or am I just generating awareness? First, start with what is my goal? Why am I using social media? And then you can pay attention to the metrics that drive it. One of the key metrics we look at is what is our ratio of views to reach? And typically, it has to be a minimum of 30%. If it's anything lower than 30%, what that's telling us is the hook isn't working. And people are scrolling past. Like over 50%, that's when you can start really to generate that virality. So that's one of the key metrics that we look at. Now for Facebook, we'll also look at the share to view ratio and the share to reach ratio, because that'll then tell us, okay, how good is our content? Is it compelling people to share it with other people? Then what we look at also is our retention graph that Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn are successful. It is not luck. They are using behavioral psychology. They have behavioral scientists that are engineering all of these things. I don't know if you guys saw the Social Dilemma Netflix documentary, talks about it. But if you want to be good at it, you need to be good at human behavior. You need to be good at psychology. So everything that we focus on is really entrenched in understanding the subconscious, understand why people make certain decisions or why they don't make certain decisions, how people perceive the world in different ways. A lot of people reach out to me today and they'll say, well, I want 1 million followers. And I was like, why? Because I want to sell more t-shirts. Okay, let's take a step back. How about we just create some advertising campaigns first, bring some revenue in the door immediately, and then we can grow the follower base. Let's just sell them the product or service first, create a sustainable foundation, generate revenue, and then we can focus on reinvesting in the brand. And there's this misconception that, oh, if I gave you 1 million followers tomorrow, all of a sudden I'm going to be a millionaire. Can you make money? Can you make millions of dollars off followers? Absolutely. But you need to have the right strategy in place. It's not just people are going to start handing you checks left and right.
You're reminding me of the story of that girl who there was a famous story. She had like millions of followers. Then she went to sell a t-shirt. I think she sold like 8 t-shirts because she didn't have
super humble.
So for example, with my first book, 1 Million Followers, I teach follower growth in the book, but it's really the mindset. It's the testing methodology. It's the process that you go to be successful. If I started with that as my hook, as like the art of A/B testing for social media, or like the social media mindset, it would not garner the same attention. When I got introduced to Taylor Swift and working with her and her team, and the fascinating thing that I learned from that was she was the reason for her success. She didn't have millions of dollars in marketing budget. She didn't have a huge record label behind her. It was her pure genius and her brilliant strategy of understanding the power of brand advocates. She understood with each comment that she responded to online, each autograph she signed, each photo she took with a fan. Not only did that fan become a fan for life, somebody was going to buy her merch, her concert tickets, but somebody that was now going to share her music with the world. I remember she did like a 13-hour autograph signing session. She ended up staying for 17 hours.
Wow.
But obviously that doesn't scale because you can't reach all those people. So what she did to the next level that just shows her brilliance is then she started showing up at fans' weddings. She started showing up at fans' doorsteps with Christmas gifts. And then those were turned into videos that were then generating tens of millions of views. They see that Taylor cares about them. They see that Taylor really appreciates everything that the fans represent in her world.
That's brilliant. I didn't know all that.
Yeah. You have so much knowledge on this. Are there any foresight? Can you give us any like predictions or things to pay attention to moving forward?
Goes back to the same two things. Can you grab attention and can you maintain it? And I don't care what platform comes up or what platform you're on. Those are the two guiding principles.